Hi, this is a follow-up video for my custom water-cooled PC desk build. It was started towards the end of 2013 and my first video was uploaded early 2014, so it's been quite a while since I've done a follow-up video for this. Hopefully in this video I'm going to show how things have held up over the past almost year. I'm going to try cover as many questions as well that I'm commonly asked on my Facebook and YouTube channel. And a couple of them things that I will be following up on are the lighting, temperatures, dust, wear and tear, carbon fibre, maybe a couple of how-tos as well. I want to try to keep the videos short as possible so I'm not boring too many people. For everybody that has subscribed to my channel and thumbed up on my videos, I appreciate it a lot, and it does encourage me to do extra videos like this one, and also hopefully start my next custom water-cooled desk build, in which I'm going to try use up a bit more of this space over here going up to the radiator, because it's just wasted at the minute. I just chuck rubbish down there. So one of the first things we'll start off with is the lighting. Now, the lighting on the glass shelf at the top and the reservoir, and it don't show up very well on the phone, I'm afraid, it's cutting down the light, but the shelf lighting as well is RGB 5050 LED strip lights, which is basically like this. This is the UV version, so it's just one colour, which is UV purple. You can find these on eBay and more than likely Amazon as well. I also have plenty of this extension cable, which is a must if you're going to be cutting and extending these cables and fitting them in. Moving across to the desk, I get asked a lot of questions, well, not so much asked, I get told I'm an idiot for having the LED lights that must blind me when I'm playing games. Well, the simple thing is, when I'm playing a game, I basically just turn off mainly the light going across here, because that one does interfere with you when you're playing a game. But when I'm sat down playing a game, there's no real problem from that, because it's sort of blocked out and I only really see the screen. But obviously if it were a problem, again, you can just turn it off, it's not a problem. And same goes for the UV lighting, that can just be turned off as well. And if still I want to cut down on even the bit of light coming off the graphics cards, I have made the I did make a cover, although I've not really used this cover, to be honest, maybe 2 or 3 times. Basically it's just fake leather, flux leather. That's how that looks when it's on the desk. Now for the UV lighting, the UV lighting is basically going under the wooden edges of the desktop, so it's stuck underneath facing downwards. The LED lighting for the reservoir is basically, you'll just see a little bit of shadow there. Let's see if I can make it stand out. Yeah, you can just see a couple of lights there. Basically that's taped underneath the reservoir so it shines up through the tube. Okay, moving on to a couple of things that have changed since the original video that I uploaded. First thing is the Cooler Master CM Storm Mech keyboard. It's still got the original wrap that I put on it, and it's holding up really well. But I have repainted the white logo here. Instead of it being shaded, I made it a solid white so it stands out a little bit more. I've also painted the Reaper mouse to match up to the keyboard, and it also matches up to the second plate that I did, which is airbrushed and then clear lacquered. I have another YouTube video on the mech if you wanted to have a look at that. The only thing I still have to do is the headset. That's a Pulsar headset. Back to the mouse mat. The mouse mat were twice this size originally, but I wasn't going to use all of it, so I decided to cut it down, and I made the edge for it here slightly angled out of wood, then covered with vinyl wrap. I also put this light in it to make it match up to the light on the mouse and the keyboard. I also have to mention the bungee. Now, I would never have thought of getting one of these, to be honest. I thought they were a bit of a gimmick, and I was basically given this for free, even though they're only about £10, so they're not that much anyway, but it makes all the difference to the mouse. Without it, especially with these mice that have got the cord on it, it catches like on the edge of the desk where the wood is, and obviously it'll depend on your position, but if you find that your mouse is sticking at all, or you're feeling a bit of tension, it's probably down to the wire. So I definitely recommend getting yourself a cheap bungee, because it makes a lot of difference to it. Back to wear and tear. I don't know if you'll be able to see very well, but there's a little bit of wear here on the carbon fibre where basically I don't think I've sanded it down enough before I put the wrap on, and it's just starting to wear through a little bit. But like I said, this has been on here now for going on almost a year, and obviously that's where my arm rests, so it does take quite a lot of damage. I'll move on to taking the glass panel off and showing a bit more inside. And to do that, basically, I don't have to unplug it, but I'll show the keyboard unplugged and moved out of the way anyway. So that's quite easy to do. And then I basically have a metal plunger. They're only a couple of pound off eBay, so these are useful for lifting up glass. You just click it, push it on, click it down, and it'll lift the glass up. So I'll just pause it while I take the glass off. It'll just take a couple of seconds. Okay, the glass panel's off now. I'll just put that to the side on the floor down there. We'll start off with the fans and the airflow. Basically, I have on the right hand side of the desk 3 120mm Sickle-Flow fans which are blowing air into the system. They have fan filters on the outside. I've had the fans now about 4 or 5 years. At the back here we also have a temperature monitor which is telling me temperature of the water that's in the reservoir before it enters the radiators and gets cooled down. Underneath the platform here we have the power supply somewhere around here, the bottom of the water pump, and a bit of the electrics to do with the RGB lighting and UV lightings underneath here as well. But there's also a big cutout underneath here on the bottom of the desk, which is where the two fans here get their airflow from, and they're covered up with a homemade filter which I'll take out and we'll have a look at, see how much dirt's built up on that in a bit. So like I said, two more Sickle-Flow fans here which are blowing air across the motherboard, across the graphics cards. And then the only other fan that I have blowing air into the system is behind these hard drives here. So that's the outside there. And there's just a metal grill filter on that, which are not the best ones, so I would presume that lets the most amount of dust in, although there's not that much anyway. There's two tiny little fans here blowing air out, although I don't really think I need them. That one more for when I was running on air and I wanted to test out the temperatures. I did also have a 120mm fan here which I've taken out because it just wasn't needed. On the back we have the two 360 rads. All 6 of them fans are blowing out over the rads out at the back of the desk, and you won't be able to see very well on this video, but there's just a very minute small amount of dust build up on them, and I don't think I've ever cleaned them since building up the desk, so that's over a year, so the dust build up's very minute. The same goes for the components here and the motherboard. There's just small amounts of dust I can see, which I don't think you're going to see very well on this video, I'm afraid. So there's no major problem here with dust. You can probably see a bit of dust here actually. If you look on the chrome there, There's a bit of dust build up there, but not major. The logo we have here, the EK logo, was cut out of Perspex using a Dremel tool. I also used the Dremel tool for the brackets that are holding up the reservoir and a couple of other little bits like cutting out the hole for the pump. So a very useful tool to have. If you haven't already got a Dremel, it's something to definitely invest in if you want to do something similar to this. The graphics cards are ASUS HD 7970 Platinums, Matrix ones. The water blocks on here fit the ASUS 7970 Matrix cards. They also fit the 280 Matrix cards as well. As far as I know, they don't fit any other type of card. I'm asked quite a few times about whether they'd fit on, like, let's say a gigabyte card and so forth. No, they won't fit them. It's just these cards. The processor is a Intel i5-25K. The stock on that is 3.3 GHz. I currently have it at 4.8 GHz, but I do have to drop it down to 4.6 when I'm playing Battlefield. For some reason, Battlefield just doesn't like overclocking. The graphics card's stock speed is 1100 MHz. I've got them running at 1230 MHz at the moment. Temperatures never really go above 40, even when I'm really pushing them and they're turning red. The EK water pump has a 5-speed setting on it. It's currently set to 3-speed, I think, or possibly 4-speed. It's basically taking water from the reservoir down inside, out to the first radiator, across into the second radiator, down into the CPU, out the CPU to the GPU, first GPU, into the second GPU, and along the back here, back into the reservoir. And then, like I said earlier, the temperature gauge basically tells me what temperature it is when it's hitting here. Right. The only other place where air does enter the system is this little bay drive cover here, which acts as a filter as well. But I tend to vac that whenever I'm vacuuming my room because it's easy to get to. So there's not much dust build up there. There's also an SSD there, which I can easily get to by just taking that off. Above that we have my tea holder, which, as you can see, it's had plenty of use. That we have the Blu-ray drive. We then have another NZXT fan controller. This one just controls the fans that's on the radiators, which are Jetflow 120mm fans. This is little red at the minute, but I think it changes to about 5-6 different colours. It don't look very red on the phone. It looks a bit more orange, but you get the idea. Above that we have the push button latch-in switches for the UV lighting and the LED lighting there. On this side we have the non-latch-in switches, which is basically the power and the reset, and then in the middle we have a green LED for the hard drive activity. We've got headphone, microphone socket and 2 USB ports there as well. Moving on to the carbon fibre wrap again. Basically, I'd say around about 60% of the desk is covered in the vinyl wrap, and altogether I spent approximately £70 on the wrap. So that's the sort of price you're looking at to cover a desk this size with all the visible parts covered. I'd say it's worthwhile. It's definitely a lot quicker and tidier than painting it, unless of course you want to leave it with just a wood finish. And now the last thing really that I get asked quite a lot about is, why do I just have one screen when I could have 3? Well, one of the main reasons is affordability, finance. At the moment I have a IPS 1440p screen, which I really like, 27 inch. When you sat in front of it, it really is quite big enough and it looks really nice. So I wouldn't want to go down from a 1440p resolution screen for the sake of having 3 1080 screens, and you know, and having a bit more peripheral vision. If anything, I'd prefer to get something like an ultra wide screen when I can afford one. Like I say, I could quite easily get maybe 3 1080 screens, but like I said, I just don't want to lose the resolution and quality that I get on the 1440 screen, because I do quite a lot of photo editing and so on, and it makes a lot of difference, the extra bit of resolution you get out of the 1440. Okay, thanks for watching, and I do appreciate all the comments that people have left in the past. I always try to reply to everybody as quickly as possible, so please do carry on leaving them comments below. Any improvements you think I could make, anything you didn't like, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll hopefully have another video up for you soon.